Dear Reddit, what is your all-time most embarrassing moment? Was on an airplane years ago with my girlfriend and her parents. My girlfriend couldn't get a seat next to me and sat directly behind me. During the flight, I thought I would surprise her and reached me hand back onto her knee. Slowly, I kept extending it up her thigh until I heard giggling, looked behind through the seats and saw that my hand was on the leg of the guy next to her. He saw my face and said, "I just wanted to see how far you'd go." Of course, my girlfriend was in on it and started laughing along with the rest of the row. Was so embarrassed. This was during my sophomore year in math class. I sat between two gentlemen. I was really congested that day and thus pretty tired at the same time. I was resting my head in my hand and hunched over my math book when I felt a sneeze coming. I went to lean back, but apparently didn't move quick enough when the force of the sneeze sent my face hurling into my desk. My head smacked the desk so hard that I bounced back up like a basketball. At that point, I was just dizzy and like, Meanwhile, the two guys next to me just completely lose their shit. The one on the right is howling with laughter. The one on the left has his face in his hands and is snorting. The teacher looked at us so confused, and all I could say was, I sneezed. Edit, wow! This is the first time I have ever had a comment receive actual attention before. Sorry to rest of you who also banged their heads on desks. And thanks for the silver kind, strangers. When I was 16, I went to a water park with slides and pools, and all with my uncle and two younger cousins. I wore a regular bikini and went swimming in some pools with my cousins for about 40 minutes. We then went to this big slide thing, and after that, we got in line to do an even bigger one with my uncle too. As I'm standing in line, I hear some teenagers laugh behind me, and I turned around to see one of them pointing at me and quickly stop as they saw me stare back. I then looked down. I had bits of wet white toilet paper all down my legs. When I was a teenager, I used to always fold toilet paper and put it in my underwear to prevent discharge staining them. I must have done it automatically and forgot I was wearing a bathing suit. I have never felt so exposed and ashamed in my life. There wasn't just a little bit. I started trying to get it off, but there was always more. I tried to play it cool as I was chatting to my uncle, and I know for a fact he noticed because he always notices little things, but thankfully, he never said a word. We are not that close, which made it all the more awkward, along with the fact I was touching my crotch way too much. I was paranoid for the rest of the day for there to be more. Edit. Thank you for my first ever silver. In middle school, my mom was friends with another mother. The other mother would give me rides home after school along with a couple other kids. Truthfully, I think I only got rides because her son had a crush on me. Well, anyways, one day she has a new kid to drop off, so she drops off that kid first, and then it was my turn. Well, all the houses looked the same to me, and I didn't really know how to direct her. Her son very helpfully said something like, "It's going to be a left on this upcoming street." I honestly don't know what came over me, but I very rudely said, I'm pretty sure it's this street. I think I know where I live. Well, he was right, and I was wrong. As soon as I realized my entire face felt like it was on fire, I quickly thanked his mother and scurried out of the car and practically run into my house. At the time, I felt like I was going to die from embarrassment. I was a theater kid and didn't have stage fright or anything. But when I was a freshman in high school, I had my first panic attack hours before I was to play the Goose in our production of Charlotte's Web. I also have chronic migraine, and it caused a big one, complete with excruciating pain, light and sound sensitivity, and lots of nausea. And I had forgotten my prescription painkillers at home, so I was stuck with it. It was a bad day. I tried to push through it all and got into costume and a full face of goose makeup. I'm feeling horrible, but the show must go on. As soon as I walk out for Mitty first scene, bright stage lights are piercing into my head, and a wave of nausea just courses through me. I had to be on stage about 5 minutes for that first scene, tried to swallow it down between lines. A lot of my classmates were out in the audience too. I open my mouth to say my last line, and it's just, "Whoop!" I vomit on the stage and all over my own lap in front of 300 people. The senior boy playing my counterpart, the Gander, accidentally whispered, "Oh shit," into his mic, and rubbed my back to try and calm me down. That was nice of him. Somehow I got off stage and puked the rest of my guts out into the bathroom. The drama club teacher was nice enough to let me know she wouldn't charge me for the pukey costume. Tia Al Dadar barfed in front of half the school. 10 years later, and it still haunts me. I went to an all-girls Catholic high school. We were having Mass or whatever for like Ash Wednesday, and we had Father something or other do a special sermon. IDK, I never really paid attention to the religious stuff. Anywho, he's really tiny and awkward, and he begins by leading with a joke. I'm a Roman Catholic, and I'm a Roman over here. Well, I think that's the funniest thing, and begin to laugh maniacally for a solid minute. I'm talking uncontrollable, folded over crying. No one else laughed. All my teachers and classmates, all 200 plus in our auditorium, stare at me like I'm in something. And poor Father, something or other, looks really embarrassed. Really fancied a girl at my old work. Got put on a project with her. First topic of conversation was that her birthday was coming up and fell on Friday the 13th. Me. I'm not sure my birthday has ever fallen on Friday the 13th. Her. Oh, when's your birthday? Me. The 16th of May, of. On a road trip with some friends. We stop for gas and a bathroom break. I walk into the empty men's room with my best bud right behind me, and I take the closest of the 3 urinals. In a rare break from bro code, my buddy takes the one right next to me, but the urinals have dividers, so not a major infraction, but still, I want to teach him a lesson. So as he's in full stream, I reach around the divider and grab his elbow and shake the hell out of it, in an attempt to get him to piss all over himself. Suddenly, I hear this strange voice say, "Well, I didn't know you wanted to hold my hand." I slowly lean back and look to my left, only to see my buddy at the far urinal, leaning back and looking at me. Oh my God. Turns out an elderly man had ghosted into the restroom between me and my buddy and took the urinal between us. He actually thought it was funny. My buddy collapsed in the corner laughing, and that's how I molested an old man in a truck stop bathroom. Filming for my high school football team since I had broken a bone. Me and my buddy were talking about girls, as high schoolers do, and we found out a few weeks later it recorded sound as well. That still keeps me up at night sometimes. They decided to do a spelling bee in my English lesson once, dividing the class into 2 teams. One team would play at a time and lose after 3 misspelt words. I was really good at spelling, so was quickly being called on every time to spell the word for the team, and after 50-plus rounds, we were 12, the words were not hard. The teacher had reduced the 3 strikes rule to 1 strike. Then she called out synonym, and I misheard her and spelt cinnamon instead. The team got really angry at me, and I'm still bitter about it. I'd won all the fucking points single-handedly. This past Saturday, I went into a clothing store with my sister, and I walked into a mirror and said, "Oh my bad," to my own reflection. She got a good laugh out of it at least. This happened to me at a restaurant, except I legit thought someone else was inside, so I waited outside. A line actually formed behind me. I was so embarrassed when it turned out nobody was inside. This happened when I was a very shy, chubby 11-year-old with very poor social skills. I had recently started puberty, and so was starting to develop a more serious interest in girls, but had no idea how to interact with them. In my school, we had a seating plan for each class where we were made to sit boy, girl, etc. And so I ended up situated between 2 girls that I was kinda crushing on. I was trying to figure out how I could impress them, get their attention, and whilst trying to think of a plan, I was twirling some of my hair on the back of my head around my finger for whatever reason. It then occurred to me, I know, I'll pull some of my hair out and show them, and they'll think I'm a badass or something. So that's what I did. I pulled some of the hair I was twirling out and then proceeded to just say, "Look," to them both. As soon as I had done this, I realized what an awful, awful idea it was. They both looked at each other and then looked away without saying anything. Took me a while to get over that one. Was at a field day in middle school, and Crush was sitting in a tree. She asks for some water, and I decide to impress her with my amazing throwing skills. Proceed to hit her in the forehead with a 1L water bottle hard enough to knock her out of the tree. Needless to say, she was unimpressed, and we never went out. Attending a work conference in Tampa, I was sweaty from hauling boxes outside, so ran into the bathroom to dab my forehead. I bumped into the president of our company, washing our hands at the sink. I try to make small talk, brown nose, for a few minutes before she excuses herself. Thought to myself as she was leaving, "That went well. Good job." Turn to look in the mirror and see a huge piece of toilet paper stuck to my sweaty forehead. I had to sit in a conference room for several hours with her after this happened. I was so embarrassed.
For more stories like this one, be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on TikTok at CaptivatingCont for more content.